and the Snob. Haven't done an episode in quite some time, and I think we're going to try one here. We have some new equipment, as you can see. Here are some microphones here and a little board here. And I have a special guest. We're gonna call him Dr. S. And so, Doctor, welcome to Joey T and the Snob.
Well, thanks, Joe.
And
Joey T.
Joey T. And
glad to be here.
And we're going to we're going to be looking at doing a review on an Italian wine. And everybody knows how much I like Italian wines. This is actually. We'll get into this, but this is more than just an Italian wine. We're bringing, not just the dirt that Joey T likes, but we're bringing some of that California cab to it. So, Doctor, what would you call this? How do you pronounce this? I always have a hard time on this.
Yeah, a lot of people have trouble with that, that word in Italian, but it's Tignanello.
Right. The G is silent, is what they say. Tignanello or something like that.
That's correct.
But
That's correct.
So what would you say? Was this back in the day? Was this like a DOC, DOCG? This part of the Chianti region, correct?
That's correct. It was definitely not. It was considered initially an IGT, which was something that came out of Tuscany when they had to change the rules because it didn't follow the rules of the Chianti Classico region. Right. And at that time, you had to put in certain specific grapes at certain specific percentages. Chianti, of course, had a lot of white wine, sometimes up to 30% of it.
So they actually use white grapes.
That's correct.
In this,
they had to use white grapes in the blend in Chianti Classico to consider it a DOC or a DOCG type to follow those percentages.
So they said, hey, forget you guys,
right.
Forget you DOC people, and we're gonna do our own thing.
Exactly, because they felt that they had quality grapes. They had obviously reached out into France and other places, bringing in, international grapes such as Cabernet and others into that region.
What else is in this? What else is? What else?
Besides Sangiovese, it's got Cabernet and it has some Cabernet Franc.
Some Cab Franc. That's right. So this started in in the 70s, I think.
That's correct. 1975 was their original wine production of this wine.
When it released. Right. And just looking at some notes, Wikipedia is always correct, by the way. 1994 is when they went, what you called it, IGT. And that's really just a control or some government type of stamp of approval?
It's not even. It's just basically a designation that we're basically not following the Chianti Classico rules, and they could kind of be in the market on their own without those.
Got it. Did you know? I did not know that, but you're going to know this right now. Meghan Markle. Remember Meghan Markle?
Who can forget her?
Right. This is her favorite wine.
Oh my God.
And
I had no idea.
Yes, she did. I didn't tell you that. I didn't want to prep you on this one. So, and she had her own wine blog or her own blog, and it was called. You ready?
Tignanello.
The Tig.
The Tig. Oh.
The Tig. So who would have thought it that she was so impressed with this wine? So what do you think, Doc S., that we see if we're impressed with this wine?
I think we should give it a shot.
All right. So I opened this about 3 hours ago. So hopefully you have a glass there. Let's
we'll give it a try.
Yeah, let's ooh, look how inky and dark. I am gonna all right, there we go.
So I think it looks so. For just a little bit of trivia, so I think we had brought this up earlier. Those of you who are in the Antinori place, there's a sister wine to this, and
what's that one called?
Question is, what's that called?
Oh, wait. I'm the host. You're not supposed to be challenging the host here.
Gotta challenge you, Joe. Got it.
It's some Chianti. It sounds like three syllables.
You got it.
All right. What is it?
It's Solaya.
Solaya. Yeah. The phrase that pays is Solaya.
So what they did was they just flipped the percentages. So instead of having mostly Sangiovese, Cabernet Franc and Cabernet Sauvignon. They switched it. It's mostly Cabernet Sauvignon with slight amount.
So
of
those who may not want the dirt, right?
Right.
You want to maybe go more California, even though this is still. Would you call this old world?
I would say it's probably middle road.
Middle road.
They're certainly shooting a little bit more towards the new world because of when you're going to be Cabernet dominant in that region,
right?
It's going to be a little bit more fruit forward.
A little more fruit forward. Yeah. So I don't know if we can see this, but the I want to say the alcohol content. Can you see that? I think it says 14%. So not very very high. And if you listen to my podcast in the past. I'm certainly anything under 14. This is not. Well, let's try it before we even kind of
make a decision.
Let's see how this tastes. Cheers.
Cheers, everyone.
All right. So I was saying, Dr. S.
So what do you get on the nose?
Well, first of all, I'm loving the mouthfeel, but I went right past the nose. I know that's not the right way to do these things, but let's go to the nose.
So we got a little,
and you have an advantage on the nose.
I do have it. So. See, you just have to know how to put that in there. But so we got a little bit. I mean, there's like a little bit of new leather. We got a little bit of rose flavor. Nice little rose, maybe a little floral, definitely some spice going on there.
Yeah, I do some red fruit. I think is what you're
absolutely.
Getting.
And I think you're right. What I love about this is the mouthfeel is got this nice little spice feel, little acidity to it. Really makes it a fresh taste.
A little silkier. I did. This is a 2017. I did try the 16 a few weeks ago and. Absolutely wonderful. It urged me to prompt me to get a 17. We're going to try an 18. What do you think? Do a little. It's called a vertical.
Right. Well, certainly based on all the vineyard information, the 18 is supposed to be a great year. So.
What are those so-called experts rating these things? And who are those so-called experts? Would you say?
Sometimes we don't know who those experts are. But it depends on which magazine you're talking to. That's right. I would think most of them are an idea that's certainly above 95 in both years. So that just puts it in a classic level. I mean, obviously, whether you like it or not might be a different story, but certainly is a classic type of blend. It's in the top level of all those.
Right. Sure. And anything above 95, it's hard to find those. And so I would highly recommend trying to find one of these. And they're not all that expensive. It's hitting into the low hundreds, but it's still expensive. But you can certainly go into the thousands and still get the same, wouldn't you say, the same experience?
Like when we were drinking this and trying with some food, it's so versatile. I think it can meet up with, it can be with meat. You can have it with even pasta and some sauces because it has that spiciness and that acidity to match up with that. It really is versatile.
And you still get the earthiness. I think that Sangiovese, but also even the Cab Franc, you're giving you some gravel almost flavors, overtone. Now, I did read one of the things they use are smaller barrels, and they're called, I'll probably mispronounce as barriques. Barriques, see? Thank you. That's why you're the doctor, and I'm just playing one, right? We talked about white grapes. So tell me about, was that something that they did? Like, how do they get a red color then if they're using white grapes?
Well, it was just in order to blend it because they had to do with the amount of grapes in the vineyards and the change and have a consistent flavor. Their feeling is that how the flavor of Chianti had to be because they were the acidity was such that the white grapes would mellow that acidity that was related to the Chianti grapes at that time. So that's how they did it.
And as a result of moving from a Chianti or a Chianti Classico, right, that's in the Chianti region between Tuscany and, is it Siena?
That's right.
Watch one of my other prior podcasts and talk about how they determine where that region is. But because they moved into a outside of the rules, what do they call that then? They developed a new type of wine.
Right. I mean, well, they just
Like
kind of went on their own. They
Super
just,
Tuscan, I think.
well,
is,
that's
right.
exactly the name they
Right,
used. Correct.
Super Tuscan. So, all right. So I think we've kind of anything else we want to let one more. I mean, we just got to try it again. What do you think? I mean, we saved it for this.
I would prefer not to put it down if I did have to.
I know. Oh, that's lovely. Just lovely.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a pretty mouthfeel. It's got everything you're looking for in a red wine.
And
I
it's
think,
only going to get better,
yeah.
I think. So
There's no doubt. For versatility, price, quality, all together. Sure, it's a little pricey, as you mentioned, but I think the combination just something you can keep forever.
So Antinori, Marchesi Antinori, tell me the name of it again. Tignanello. And this is a 2017. I would highly recommend, Joey Tina Snob highly recommends trying something different. And what's even more, I think even more beneficial is when you try these, have it with that special someone. I always say that. It's just that much better. So I'll end it there. Should we go back to the music? What do you think, Doctor?
I think we should go back to the music.
All right, here we go. We're gonna bring it up.
Nothing better than a sexy wine with some sexy music.
There it is. And all right, cheers. And to